What's up, guys? It's your girl, Asia Abston. We are back with another episode of the Get Rich or Get Drunk Trying podcast. That was Roses by my boy St. John. Obviously, that was a remix. I fuck with St. John heavy. I got put on to him. Lenny Kravitz record Borders, which I opened one episode with, maybe like episode 30. I didn't even know that this was a St. John record. I had just been bopping to it super, super hard because it makes me think of Vegas, pool parties, like at the Cosmo. One of my favorite things to do in life is to rage at pool parties in Vegas, in Ibiza. Like, I miss that shit. And the way the Rona is set up, honey, I don't know when or if that is ever coming back. I know it's open, but I'm good. I'm not interested in tempting my fate that way. So that was just a little taste of it for you guys if you are missing that Vegas lifestyle too. So today I have an interview with Gia Harris, aka Gia the House Goddess. And that is what she is. She is a rock star entrepreneur out of Atlanta. She specializes in fixing and flipping, buying and holding, wholesaling real estate. She's an investor and she knows what she's talking about. She really is an expert, and it was important to me to feature women entrepreneurs on the show always and give us a platform to spread our expertise and our knowledge and make it easier for the next sister to come behind us. So we recorded this about 2 weeks ago. So let's just jump into the show. Okay, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Get Rich or Get Drunk Trying podcast. I am joined today by a very special guest, Gia Harris, aka Gia the House Goddess, real estate investor, entrepreneur, coach, rock star, mom, black excellence connoisseur. Welcome, Gia.
Woo, woo, woo. Thank you for that introduction. Thanks
Absolutely.
for having me.
It's all 100% true. I was excited to have you on the show like for a long time because I was looking to grow my portfolio, and there are so many real estate gurus out, right? But I wanted to find someone who looked like me. And that's how I found you via Instagram. And I was like, oh, well, if I'm going to listen to anybody, I'm going to listen to another sister because we have different perspectives and different interests, and it matters who you get your information from.
That's true. Because, we're going to share the same struggles, the same, wants, same desires, but definitely the same struggles. And that's where, that common ground comes in play.
I agree 100%. So will you give me a little bit of background on you and how you jumped into real estate?
So I guess from a very early age, like I always knew I wanted to get into real estate, really like at 16. And I just knew in my mind, I had a hunch like the easiest legal way to make money, lump sums of money to me was flipping houses, So basically from there, I started my journey off as an appraiser, a real estate appraiser, and of course I didn't have the money. I didn't know how to get in the game. So I was like, okay, one of my friends was an investor / appraiser. So I started appraising houses in New York City. Wanted to buy one, but the prices are crazy. So that wasn't really realistic. Started appraising. I was working my 9-to-5 job. I was at like Mercedes-Benz selling cars and bored as hell. I'm like looking at houses. I'm like, I need to buy a house. But of course I couldn't do it in New York. 2 families I was looking at. I was like, maybe I could live in one, rent out the other. But the mortgages is like astronomical on a $900,000 multifamily. God forbid someone doesn't pay their rent. My mortgage ain't getting paid. It takes forever to evict someone out of, housing in New York City. So it just wasn't realistic. And I didn't have the financial to do so. So started looking at like other areas where property was really cheap, where I knew people at, and Atlanta just happened to be one of those areas. Yeah, sorry, the background is crazy. We got people is not quarantined out here. I live on the strip. It's all kind of stuff. If I was to show you what outside looks like off the balcony right now, you'd be like, okay, really?
Y'all gotta forgive us. She lives in the A. Atlanta is wild and out of control. They don't care that we are podcasting, so y'all have got to bear with us. But the message is important. So
And you
Pay
got the
attention to the
super
message.
mic. You got the mic on
I
steroids.
do.
So
I have the best mic of all time. It can hear people way in Marietta, girl. So go ahead. We're going to carry on back to you. The
okay.
people want to know. I mean, but what 16-year-old looks at real estate and says, I want to jump into real estate? That is wild.
Girl, I was a hustler from early, so we ain't gonna go there. But yeah, I started off really early, just out with entrepreneurship and just they, New York, we grow up fast, so just basically wanting my own, being independent, just coming from that upbringing too. So
Is that what made you move to Georgia to find like better real estate opportunities?
yeah, definitely. So, started looking, noticed I had a few people that I knew in Georgia, and I started going back and forth. Seeing, I saw all these cheap houses. I'm like, oh my God, I was like a kid in a candy store because I'm seeing houses for 100,000. I'm like, shoot, we could buy 10 of these for the price of, one.
One in New York, right?
Exactly. So, started, bought my first property. Ended up actually I started off buying property for helping others buy property. Like I had like my aunt and her friend. They wanted to buy some property in Atlanta because New York was too crazy. So I started helping them. Got a crew together. Started fixing them for them. Turnkey. At that time, this is when like you could get a home value. You could get a home equity line of credit and you could know how much the bank would approve you online.
Beforehand.
Yeah, beforehand. So I'm looking online like, okay, what kind of line of credit they're gonna give us? I'm typing in the address. It'll show you like what they value the property at. So
Hmm.
at that point, okay, if they're valuing the property at 100,000 and you can get the house for 50,000, you automatically know you got a $50,000 home equity line of credit that you can pull.
Hmm.
So that was gangster. I wish they had that now, shoot.
But you
But
know why they took it away.
right. Girl, during them times, please,
Life
all
was
kind of stuff
good.
was going down. Yeah. But yeah, so then once I got them straight, started I made a few dollars off of that. Then I was able to leverage and buy my own property, investment property in Atlanta. I really didn't know what I was doing. I was just excited to get in the business. I didn't really know the areas too tough, the values, I was still new. So, and at this time, the market had crashed right after, like literally right after I had bought some of these areas, bought a little bit too high.
Hmm.
Market crash. This was a time where people was just not paying rent. I didn't have Section 8 at that time, so it was like I lost my job. What you want me to do?
Right.
So it was, yeah.
How did you survive the market crash with your new properties?
I did it. I did it.
Keeping it real, okay? I didn't.
Uh, yeah, they all of them went back to the
Got
bank.
it. Got
Yeah.
it. I
So,
mean, but that's everybody's story. Honestly, it's not just you. Millions of Americans who lived in those homes, forget investments, lived in those homes and couldn't keep them because it just wasn't possible. The world was crumbling. What a crazy time. So they say 90% of millionaires grow wealth through real estate, but so many people are too scared to get in the market. Like, why do you think that is?
because it can be scary. It's a lot of moving pieces. People don't know where to start, how to start. This is not something that our parents taught us, especially us,
Right.
as indigenous people. Like we weren't taught credit because, they didn't know. We weren't taught credit. We weren't taught finance. We weren't taught none of this stuff. A lot of us don't even have properties left over to us. Like like our
Our grandmother's houses. Everybody done sold grandma's house, so we don't even have anywhere to start from.
sold it, lost it to taxes, fought over it. Like I see all kind of crazy stuff like that go down. Um, so yeah, it's a lot of moving pieces, and we're just not taught the right way to get in the business and capitalize.
So do you
Unfortunately,
think that people's fear keeps them back more than their desire to want to be successful? Like they're more scared of failing than they want to be successful?
yeah, of course. That's like with most things in general. Because it definitely takes a certain amount of courage, especially if you're just winging it by yourself. Because me, I just winged it. But I know me, I'm a risk taker. So if you don't got a certain amount of balls, then you
Right.
ain't just gonna jump out there. Which, of course, it's better to take calculated risks than just jumping out there. Um, but yeah, definitely fear holds a lot of people back.
And I think that that's true in a lot of different jobs and categories and entrepreneurship in general. Like people are just too scared to act, and it's only the 10 percenters that make those moves, and then we hire the 90% that refuse to do anything.
Right, exactly.
And I'm cool with that because I need employees. So
Right.
I'm not even going to be mad at them. So, okay, people only fit into one of two categories. They either have the capital to get started in real estate or they don't. But you say that both groups can get started. So, for somebody that has capital, how would they jump into real estate first? And then for somebody that doesn't have capital, how would you say that they can get into real estate?
So, there's definitely different approaches. Like I know in different perspectives, in different certain scenarios, depending on your situation. Like for example, okay, you're coming in business with no capital at all. Like how I started, I came in, I started wholesaling, basically where you find a property for one price. And you become like the liaison between the seller and the buyer. And I turn around, sold it for a higher price to the end buyer. I made 25,000 my first deal, and I literally started with $60 to my name. I was dead ass broke, and I was like, you know what? I'm tired of clocking into work. I was broke by choice, so I'm like, something else got to give. I'm clocking in this little 9 to 5 from home, but still, I'm
Right.
still tired of it because I'm used to doing my own thing. So after the market crash, I had to regroup and um, find something else, find another way. So got in a business like that, made 25,000 real quick wholesaling, which is definitely a great strategy to get in and start leveraging because you wholesale a few properties, then from there you come up with a plan of action to maybe if you want to fix and flip, maybe buy and hold from that aspect. The other portion, but some people they don't like the hustle. They don't have the consistency to wholesale because it is a
Mm-hmm.
hustle. It is a grind. It is, you got to be consistent. You got to listen to no. You got to potentially be cold calling, writing yellow letters, putting out signs. It's a grind. It's a rewarding grind, but it's like, are you willing to do it, or do you have the consistency to do it? If you don't, and you do have some capital, or maybe you have some cash where you can borrow from the bank or something like that, you want to get in the game that way, you can go the more traditional route where you find a property that has equity where you're basically getting it under market value, but depending on what market you're in, you may be relying on a real estate agent to find you this property, and where in that case it may not even have a lot of equity or it may need a whole lot of work. So that isn't always the best option to get in. So I always suggest people, if you do have money and you are serious about your financial freedom, take the more non-traditional route where you are doing some of the grunt work, where you are finding off-market deals as opposed to just relying on a real estate agent. Because I know in Georgia, in Atlanta, in hot markets or hot cities where you're going to get good appreciation and get those better deals. If you are relying on a real estate agent, you're going to get priced out because everybody sees that deal. So that deal that started off at 60,000 that you thought was a great deal now is getting bid up to 100,000 or 80,000. So it's like, as opposed to a deal that's off market, nobody really has access to it or seen it before. You can get a better deal that way. And
If
then
you put the work in.
if you put the work in, right? So that's something that you really got to consider. Um, whether you start with capital or no capital, those factors are there. Because of course we want to get the best deal. That's the whole point of real estate. Is you want to make. It needs to be able to work for you. It needs to be able to make money for you.
Mm-hmm.
So in order to do so, you make your money when you buy. You want to get in. You want to buy at the best price. So it's either going to cash flow for you or you're going to buy with equity so you can later on maybe pull that equity out and buy more property.
So I think your point is that people can get in either way. Whether you're broke or whether you're sitting on money, you can get in the door either way and then make smart decisions to do better, right? And grow that money.
Exactly, exactly. But of course, like I said, the best way with anything is doing the grunt work, like putting in the grind because it's going to pay off in the end. So that's what I really tell people. Like, people think it's easy. They could just get in, buy a property, which sometimes you can. You can luck up and get a good deal. Um,
But
and then,
not often.
yeah, and there are cities, where you can buy really cheap and you might go through more headache, because these
Then
cities
it's
might be
worth.
Baltimore, they might be Detroit, they may not be close to home, but yeah, in the next few years, you might get some appreciation based on what's going on. But yeah, just different things to consider.
That makes sense. Don't be afraid to get in the game, no matter what your financial situation is. If this is your dream, if this is something that you're passionate about, there are avenues to make it happen. And luckily for you, Gia, the house goddess, has all type of programs and coaching that she can put you on to
That's
grow that wealth. Everything will be linked in the show notes. I promise I will give you her information. She can teach you. My next question for you is, what strategies to wealth through real estate do you think are underutilized? Like, what are people not doing in real estate to make money that they should be doing?
I think more people should be coming up with a plan to buy and hold and get that residual income. Um, and leverage their credit, leverage the bank.
So, what are they doing too much of?
I think people fantasize too much about the fixing and flipping aspect of things. Like
Because they watch HGTV and they don't realize that that's a TV show and they think that that's how it's going down in real life.
yeah, like it's glamorized, it's heavily glamorized. That's everybody's like, hey, I want to fix and flip, I want to do that. It looks good, but sometimes it's more headache than it's worth.
What would you say was the hardest lesson that you've learned in building your real estate business?
Girl. Um,
Yeah, give me the dirt. I saw that face. Give me the scoop. We
I
want to know.
I would say just biting off more than I buying too many houses at one time. I
How
had
did
to
that kick you in the butt?
because trying to renovate them all at once. Like at one time, I remember I had bought like 5 properties at once, and they were all big projects, and literally 2 of them were 4 family buildings. So that's 8 units right
By
there,
itself, right?
core on top of three other houses. And I'm like, yo, what the fuck was I thinking? Like,
It's
I
not enough hours in the day.
Yo, I'm like, Lord, like I'm surprised I got hair still.
Yeah, how could you do that? Have a family, have a life, like travel,
Um,
breathe, sleep,
exactly.
brush your teeth. It's just
Don't
not enough
work.
hours.
Don't work. Something gonna fall short, and that's what the fuck happened. I was like, fuck this. I'm
Yeah,
going to Africa for 3 months.
get me out of here.
Yeah, so I'm going here, like, because that's the thing. I manage a lot of my own properties, and it's hard to get good help.
Yeah.
I've learned that too. Like just these contractors, I've heard horror stories. I've been through horror stories. So at that point, I'm like, man, fuck, I'm just gonna manage my own stuff. Forget a contractor. I have my own subs, but that will take a toll too because now you're wearing
You
that
work for yourself. Yeah, you're like an
hat.
employee in your own company on top of owning it.
Exactly. So I've definitely learned some hard lessons through the years, but it definitely make you better. That's why it's definitely good to have a mentor so you can avoid all the bullshit. People like being cheap, like, oh, I don't want to pay for her services. I want to, but when you have a mentor, it will shave years of freaking trial and error, headaches, and all of that because I've been through all the bullshit. You don't have to go through it for what? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Get in the game, learn quicker, learn faster, get to your end goal, your end results a whole lot quicker and faster as opposed to going through the trial and error that I've been through already.
I agree 100%. I talk about that on the show all the time. Like, time is time. Time is not money. Time is irreplaceable. You will
Right.
never get that back. And the most important thing for an entrepreneur is that time. And that if a mentor can fast forward your process of learning and failing and falling on your ass by months or years, that's imperative. Pay that person. If you vetted that person, they got receipts, they can show you that they have done it. Pay them, pay them, tip them, and support that, and make your money faster.
Exactly.
That's such a silly perspective, and I think that our people have that more than others. Like, you want to spend money on 1942 left and right. Like, you got the new Giuseppe's, pay for that coach. We not allowing that. My listeners don't do that, but moving right along. Um, an economic downturn is swiftly approaching, as we know. Like, unemployment is at 40 million people, but like, what is unique about this time regarding real estate? Like with COVID-19 going on, is this a good time to hop in? Is it a bad time? Is any time a good time? Like, what are your thoughts on that regarding recession in real estate?
Yeah, so real estate definitely can be recession proof. Right now, houses are, you have your markets that are, I feel like are going to be strong regardless. There's always going to be growth. There's always going to be people buying houses. You're always going to have the good and the bad.
Does
So,
Miami fit into that?
yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure. I don't know your market, but I know in Atlanta, like houses are selling, like no problem. Like a lot of houses selling. My brother just put a house on the market, sold in 3 days. 3 days on the market, gone. I got one I'm about to put on the market. I'm putting out there, it's gonna sell quick, really quickly as well. Long as it's priced right, it's a good job. It's selling. I mean, interest rates are really low right now for those first-time home buyers. So that's good as far as the fix and flip market. Houses are selling, long as it's priced right, and you have a good, like I said, a good renovation. And then on top of that, I feel like a lot of people are now willing to sell. So before those, like they're scared of the unknown. They want to free up some capital. So those investors that maybe had some properties, those out-of-state investors that were sitting on investment properties that didn't want to sell before, now they're like, okay, I'm willing to let go. I'm willing to, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't know what's gonna happen coming up. This is crazy. So let me just liquidate. So now is the time where you can get some potentially good deals, and with the right strategies in place. Like me, I love Section 8. So, with a vehicle like Section 8, you're going to get guaranteed money. And shit, people always need houses. You see the stay at home orders, you got to be in a house.
Okay.
So,
I agree with that 100%. Okay, so that's the takeaway, guys. If Gia is saying that don't let COVID-19 stop you from jumping into real estate, she knows what she's talking about. That means don't let it stop you from jumping into real estate. Especially now, I think people have the time to study, right? And figure out the strategies and get that mentorship and focus on learning the business. So why not jump in?
right,
If you can afford it, like get into it.
exactly.
So, what do you wish you would have known before you jumped into your first property? What if you had a crystal ball, what would you have told yourself?
The very first
The
property,
very first one.
sheesh. I'm trying to think of that one thing. Um,
Shoulda, woulda, coulda. Damn, if somebody would have just told me.
Man, it was so many factors with that particular property. Like that one was like one of those Spanish style homes that I'm like, I was all happy go lucky. My first property back in the game and first renovation, glamorizing this renovation thing. And I had this cute little Spanish looking house with a flat roof, me estimating the roof to be 3,000 like a regular roof, you know.
Come
No,
to find out.
come to find out, it's a $13,000 roof because it's a flat, one of those flat, they call it TPO commercial roofs. So I'm like, okay, I didn't budget for this.
Right. But
Great.
there's no way around it. It's the roof. What are you going to do?
Exactly. And then on top of that, that property was a whole mess. I hired a contractor who I should have known better, ain't know what he was doing. And I ended up having to reframe that house twice. Like he framed it up all wrong. Ended up having to rip it all out and reframe it.
Get out.
And yeah, it was really ugly. But the only thing that saved me is I got the property for really, really cheap. I only paid like 25,000 for it. So I had room to fuck up.
Thank
I had
God.
room. What, girl? Because that's the thing I see. I see a lot of investors getting these properties, and girl, they lose their shirts because it's a science to renovating. Like you can't just come in and think, oh, I'm gonna do this. No. Each market has their trends. Like it's not. You can't just slap some shit together and think it's gonna sell. No problem. No.
Right.
So I see a lot of investors like houses just sitting crickets because bad contractors are running off with your money. If they run off with 10, 20,000, that's it for some people.
Right. That's a
All
wrap.
they have. You can't just go. Where you gonna pull that money from?
Nowhere. So,
And
and they over renovate for the area that they're in, or they under renovate. There's just a
yeah,
million issues.
so many, like kitchen is looking crazy, like it's just aesthetically just wrong, you
Mm.
know. So, but yeah, that one, it was just really the contract. It was really the house. It just was a big project. I ended up rebuilding that house essentially. The only thing that was left was the four walls. I rebuilt the whole thing, damn near, and I did not budget or plan for that. So I wish my first one going in, I would not have done a project that big, and I would have looked at it from a different perspective. Um, but yeah, luckily I bought it hella cheap, so I had a lot of room to mess up, and I needed every bit of it.
Yeah.
I still was able to come out,
On top.
yeah,
I
thankfully.
think that's a good takeaway. Like, we all get so excited. I know I do. I get excited on my podcast. I get excited for my clothing store. I get excited for projects, and I go gung ho
Mm,
and wish that I had taken more time
yeah,
and really thought about it, cooked on it, slept on it. Don't just cut the check because it sounds good. Research it just a little bit more. It doesn't mean to be paralyzed and don't do anything, but you can slow down often and not ruin your life, ruin your business before it even gets off the ground.
right.
So you decided to teach courses. What was the reason behind that, and what are you teaching? And your webinars, like what was the main frame behind that one?
Because I was getting so many people asking me like, "Hey, can you mentor me? Can you do this? Can you do that? How do I start? I don't know how to get started." So I was like, "Okay, I will put together a program." People were asking me, "Hey, do you have a course?" And I'm like, "No, but I guess I could figure that out." So, like I said, there's so many ways to get into the business. I've done them all. I'm the one that I don't mind getting my hands dirty. So I do the cold calling. I've written the letters. I have just a plethora of knowledge when it comes to real estate, and there's so many different strategies when it comes to real estate, from short sales, pre-foreclosures, tax liens, tax deeds, all kind of creative strategies. So the fact that I've done so much fixing and flipping, and I've actually worn that hat myself, and I've done so much in the business, I felt pretty confident that I could, articulate it to someone else and help them do the same thing. However, what I did find is most people are not consistent.
No,
Like,
they're definitely not.
and I guess maybe I would make it look easy because I've had quite a few students come through the program, but a lot of them fall off. And one of my friends that has a very successful course as well, he's like, look, most people are not going to do the work. Just
No,
feel
they're
that.
not.
Like, they're going to get in your program and they're just not going to finish through. I'm like, wow, that really sucks, because maybe it looks easy, but no, you have to be really consistent. Like, you have to really wholeheartedly want it. You have to have a burning desire to really do this. And that's the only thing that has kept me going in this business, because I know what real estate could do. I know overnight you can make, what I'm saying, whatever, depending on your grind, depending on your consistency, you'll get that deal where you'll make 100,000. You'll make 200,000.
Right.
It's all about what you put your mind to, and how you, plan, and it's just really about your grind, for real.
Well, I will say you do make it look easy. You make it look cute. You had your Tims on at the construction site, like, yep, I told them to do this and I told this. You just pointing out things for people to do. You make it look good. You make it look real sexy. But as an entrepreneur, I know better. I know that you have put in a decade's worth of work and blood and sweat and tears and money behind that. So I know better. But I think to the general public, that's exactly what they think. Like, they just see the outcome. They see these beautiful homes that you buy and the profit that you make, and they don't put two and two together that, oh, she put in years of effort and work and failure to get that.
Yeah, definitely. Which you
So
can
that's
come
why they
across.
drop out.
Right, but you can come across those. All it takes is one deal. Like, so you can come across those deals where you just put in some real grind for maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks. Like me, my first deal, I was only in it for 2 weeks, and I made 25,000. But I was consistent. I had that hunger, I had that drive. Like, look, I gotta do this. My back was up against the wall, and I'm like, look, it's all or nothing. So it is possible to get in and be really successful really quickly.
Gotcha. So what's your stance on courses at this time? Do you think you're going to continue to offer courses? Do you think you're going to go with a one-on-one, or what are you thinking about that?
Yeah, so I have a few different programs depending on what you want to get into. Like for the people that have money, I just released one of my secret strategies that I don't really tell anybody. But it is a way that I've been able to get properties for really, really cheap, like $2,000 properties,
Is this
5,000.
applicable everywhere, or is this just a Georgia thing?
No, it's definitely applicable everywhere. So yes, that's one of my strategies that I for people with money. They're like, hey, I have 10,000 over here. I got 20, whatever. How could I get in the game and get the best deal? So I have that, and I don't mind putting in the grunt work. So I have that program. Then I have my wholesaling course, and then I have with the wholesaling is, I told you about the whole process of wholesaling. You want to get in, you don't have a much capital to start off with, but you're willing to put in the groundwork and, look for deals and learn how to resell them for a higher price.
You got a lot, girl. You teaching people everything.
Yeah, so many different aspects to real estate. Then the Retire Young Through Real Estate program, which is more like a one-on-one, basically shows you how to buy property, to buy and hold, because that's the whole science as well. If you wanna basically retire young and get a certain amount of residual income and do it the right way and with the least amount of resistance. That's the process too, because you want to think about your entry strategy as well as your exit strategy. Your exit strategy is the most important when buying to hold. So
Write that down, folks. I'm making notes myself for my own portfolio. I will be taking Gia's course. I know this, I say this every episode, but it's because I really only interview people that I want to learn from. This is why I share certain guests with you guys, because they know things I don't know, and I know that they know what they're talking about, and I want to learn it. So send me the link. I will be putting all of Gia's
actually,
courses.
okay, you're in Miami. Actually, I also have a flying for dollars course, which interestingly enough, I recently was like, let me fly for dollars in Miami. And girl, I found all this like waterfront property, but I haven't been like able to, which I'm like, I'm gonna double down. I'm gonna start contacting these people because that's my thing. I love the water, and that's why I love Miami. But yeah, I found a lot of waterfront property on Miami, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure quite a few of these people are ready to sell.
They are, and you need to pull up and let's make this magic happen. I fully support that.
Yeah.
Another thing I'm really interested in about you is I know you spend a lot of time in Africa. You got a bunch of ventures going on over there. Narrow it down. Tell me where you go. What are you getting into? How can I be down? What's happening?
So Africa, yes, has been very, very eye-opening and exciting. And my thought process with Africa is like, okay, the Europeans went over there, they conquered over there for a reason, and we don't see that. And the reason is it's so resourceful. There's so many resources, there's so many commodities. And when we talk about commodities, we don't think about everybody thinks about diamonds,
Right, and oil.
yeah, diamonds, oil, but there's more to that. There's agriculture, there's soybeans, there's rice, there's cocoa, there's so many different commodities. And we're not introduced into those industries. We really don't know much about those industries, but these are actual commodities, just like gold, just like diamond, just like oil, they trade, and it's a big, big business. People got to eat. So not only that, I had got into some trucking over there because for these commodities, there's logistics involved. On top of that, there's a lot of, my thing is gold.
Hmm.
That's the original currency. So right now, I'm looking into some aspects of just getting more into that, and then hopefully I'll be able to help other people kind of, I guess, back up their funds with gold. I
I
mean,
like that. What country do you spend the most time in when you go there?
it's probably gonna be Zambia and Tanzania. I bought property in Tanzania. Yeah, I have some people that are pretty connected in Tanzania as far as the government. So,
I love it.
and then yeah, like my vision is to be build my beach houses in Tanzania, invite my friends, invite my followers, meet, network, all of that. Like that's my vision. Beach house Tanzania, a few beach houses, and there's a lot of safaris in Tanzania. Just a lot. It's such a beautiful country.
A lot of opportunity. That's fantastic. And I mean, it puts money in your pocket. It puts money in the pocket of the community there locally.
Yeah,
They get to work with people that look like them instead of people that are coming from overseas that do not look like them and
right,
have no intent. They just want to strip the land and not give anything back.
right. And that's another thing. Like, so one of the initiatives that I definitely will be doing is doing a school and or a clinic, but definitely gearing towards a school. Definitely doing a school because as a way to get back to the village, since I did buy in a particular village, that's one of the agreements that I did have to make with them that within the
Oh,
next,
really? That's really interesting.
yeah. So they're like, what are you gonna do for the village? So my thing is a school.
And knowing you, you would have done that anyway.
Yeah, definitely. Like just going there, just seeing the kids and the babies, like it's to see what they go through, the hard labor, it's crazy. And to want to be able to give them something, give them a baseball field, give them a basketball field, like give them something to do. Like these are young, fertile minds. Why not empower them? Which I know we have that issue just here in our black communities in America.
100%.
I just had the opportunity to just be in the motherland, which I feel like is a lot more opportunity. So I figured start there. Maybe I could bridge the gap, between Africa and America and the children there and here. So we'll see. It's definitely a lot of plans for the near future in Africa.
That's exciting. I look forward to that. I will be coming along on those trips because Zanzibar is at the top of my to-do list.
Yes, yes. And my land is right across from Zanzibar, like literally boat ride. Bloop.
Can't
Yeah.
wait.
I know you are Miss World Traveler over there.
Yes, I cannot wait. I'm down. I've only done Angola so far, but I'm trying to hit every single one of them. Like, I'm down, especially with the political climate going on here. Honey, get me as far away from
Crazy.
tomfoolery as I can possibly be. So I need to give the people a get rich tip from Gia the house goddess. Like, how can they make more money in their lives, whether they're in real estate or they teach or they bartend like me, whatever they do, how can we get rich Gia the house goddess style?
Okay, so I'm gonna start with the minds because I feel like mentally that's the key. Once we get over the mental part, then things will start falling in place. Like we often tend to forget before this physical stuff, like it's the mental that's involved. So I would definitely say, and a lot of us, we don't clearly identify what we want. Like we go through life not really knowing what we want, not really, just getting that down to a science. Knowing what we want out of a relationship, out of life. Like, what do you really want? First, identify that. Write it down. Repeat it. Say it to yourself. Look in the mirror. Know what your picture perfect life looks like and what that looks like. And once you know what that looks like, continuously keep that in your mind and know what it's going to take to get there. First and foremost, know what you want, put it down on paper, see it every day, say it to yourself every day, affirm it, and put those plans together. Start
In
plans,
place.
yeah, plans in place to get that.
Right. I
Um,
agree 100%. A wealth mindset is everything. Like, that's the difference between us and them. Like, they don't see those obstacles. They don't see those glass ceilings. They don't see that 100K a year is the end all and be all. If you change your mindset that you can be that millionaire or that billionaire or that mogul or whoever you want to be financially, if you believe it, it can literally come true. You have to manifest it.
right. But you gotta first and foremost know what that looks like. Know even what you want. Like so many of us, we don't even have a clue what we want. We don't have a clue as to, just. And I understand like we have obstacles, we have things in front of us, things come up, but you really gotta just
Get
stay,
specific.
yeah, and stay on the bigger picture. No matter if some bullshit happens and it's like, you feeling low, you feeling down, just try to keep your energy up and stay focused, keep your eye on the prize because shit happens all the time. But what's beautiful about life is everything is subject to change, so nothing is permanent.
Okay, deep, sis. Let me write that down. I like that. Put that on a t-shirt. Everything is subject to change. Facts. Okay. And I always like to give the people a book recommendation. Knowledge is power. Like the more reading we do, the better we are, the more dangerous we are in the best possible way. Do you have a book recommendation for the people?
Yes. What is it called? Successful Habits of Millionaires.
I already like the title.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that one. I haven't read it yet, but that's next on my
That's
book
what's
list.
on your list. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll take it. I know a few successful habits of millionaires. They do certain things like have habits, have goals written down, they exercise, they use their resources, they read more than they watch TV, they don't spend all their time on social media, they reach out to people, they have mentors, all of that. So you should find all that in that book. I want my listeners to check it out. I will link the book in the show notes for you guys. It was such a pleasure to have you, Gia. Is there anything else that you want to drop on the people before I let you go?
Nah, I think we covered it all. Thanks for having me, except for my drink of choice.
All right, did we forget the get drunk cocktail of the week? Girl, it has been a long day. You guys don't hear the episodes in sequence, but just today, what's today's date? The 29th. We just finished finding out about George Floyd's murderer being charged with third degree manslaughter. So I have been glued to the TV and distracted. So forgive
Third
me.
degree manslaughter. That's it.
Third
Wow.
degree murder, yeah, which is basically manslaughter. Only Minnesota and only two other states have the third degree murder like option, and it carries a penalty of up to 25 years. So even if he was convicted, he'll probably do what, 10, 12? It's just unacceptable. So I have had, my brain is really foggy right now.
Right. Crazy.
Perfect time for a cocktail. Perfect segue into a cocktail.
Yeah. So I'm gonna do like a more healthier mix because in my bartending days, I would have did like,
Okay, you were a bartender too, friend? Hey.
girl, hey. So in my bartender days, I would have did the Hennessy muddled with some strawberries and some simple syrup and some lemon, like my Hennessy strawberry lemonade.
That is so New York.
Yes, but I would probably do a more healthier version now because I definitely wouldn't do all that sugar and the Henny and all of that. I would do more of an alkaline drink, which would probably be like some sugar cane alcohol, one, and then with my strawberries. And instead of some simple syrup, which is just sugar melted, I would probably do some maple syrup and
That could work. I might
and
have to have you make me one of those so I can try that out.
right, and some squeeze lemons, and yeah, like a
Healthier version.
healthier version, yeah.
Because we
So,
need cocktails no matter what. Listen, I've been plant based for 6 months.
oh
Praise God.
yeah.
That has not changed my liquor intake though. So let's just keep that funky. I'm gonna just be real with y'all. Actually I'm drinking more with this pandemic going on, with this police brutality. Like I am exhausted. Hopefully, I will feel better by the time this episode airs. But again, thank you, Gia. You are
Thank
fantastic.
you.
You
Love you.
guys are going to love her content, follow her, take her course, and learn from Gia the House Goddess.
Thanks, boo.
Of course. All right, that's it for me this week, guys. It was a pleasure to be with you as always. Make sure that you continue to subscribe to the show, leave me a review, let me know what's on your mind. Follow me on Instagram and email me at asia@getrichorgetdrunktrying.com. I will check with you next week. Be good.